What's going on, everyone? Connor Curtis here, bringing you guys another video today. 100 hours of penalties, over 30,000 taken, and these are the results. So this all started pretty much 2 years ago. I missed 2 consecutive penalties. My old technique in penalties were pretty much in my head, I'm going bottom left, top left, going to the left, side netting, whatever it is, I'm going that way. I pick the spot before, I put the ball down, and I know which way I'm going. Now that worked for a majority of my life. But the problem with that way is that eventually you miss. It happens. It happens to the best of them. Messi, he has like a 33% miss rate. That's like 1 in 3. That's against the statistics. You've got Ronaldo as well. He has, I'm pretty sure it's close to like an 18% all-time goal scoring record. So with me missing those penalties, it was time for me to go out. It was time for me to start taking penalties every day at trainings, team trainings. When I get to utilize a keeper, that's awesome. And other times just every morning, go to the pitch, penalties. I just really wanted to get the technique down and just get confident in front of net. It wasn't until a few months after I started that I really wanted to hone in on the technique. So the technique that I was going for was Lewandowski's technique, and that is that of a slowdown technique. So the slowdown technique consists of literally just slowing down before you're about to make contact with the ball. You look up and then you shoot to the opposite side the keeper's gone, or if he hasn't moved, harder on a side that you feel comfortable with, pretty much. At this time, I read this Reddit post. It's about Lewandowski's pretty much insane statistics, and it just shows how efficient this penalty technique can be. People like Balotelli, he's known for it. He likes to slow down before. You've got Eden Hazard, he's also known for it. And then you've also got Jorginho, who he's got a different technique altogether, but he still implements the key aspects of the slowdown technique by looking up and waiting for the keeper before his little hop. That's when I started to hone in on my own technique and started doing the perfect run up every time. So I started off, it was actually a fair bit harder than I thought. I was always getting my footing wrong, I was messing up, doing things like that. And then when I started to get the footing right, then I'd kind of lose concentration, I'd hit it over, hit it wide, and it's surprisingly easy to do, and it's much easier to do when there's a keeper in net. Now, I practiced this for a good 3 months before the season started, and then I was awarded with my first penalty, and it was time. Now, I went with a pretty basic technique. I was pretty much diagonal to the ball, and all I wanted to do was slow down before. So I ran at the ball, slow down, and then this is the crucial part. I waited for the keeper to move. I could see he was going to his right. I easily put it on his left. That was it. Simple as that. I was like, okay, wait, maybe this is a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be. Then, after a little bit more training, I was awarded with another one about 3 weeks later. And this one, the goalkeeper was trying to get in my head. You can see here, he was spraying water on the ball. He was talking smack. And I just looked at him and smiled because I knew that I'd done so many penalties in the previous 6 months that there's no way that this wasn't going in the back of the net. I went, stopped, he was in no man's land. He'd already gone and then tried to go back, and then once his weight's already on the other side, just passed it in the net. Too easy. I based most of this off Robert Lewandowski's technique. There's a lot of videos on him doing it and why he's so efficient at them. You can see when he looks up. So for me, I wanted to kind of mimic this. So my run up was pretty much 7 steps back, put the ball down, 7 steps back, facing goal on a tiny little bit of an angle towards the side. I take a side step to open my body up, confuse the keeper a little bit more, and then fast feet, slow down, look up, shoot. So you can see here the most important part is I give a quick look before, and then I go down to running, and then when I plant that right foot, when my head goes up, I scan the goalkeeper and I see which way his body's shifting, where his body weight is. This sounds like a lot more difficult thing than it actually is. When you're doing it with a keeper, it's just kind of intuitive. Just his body language speaks to you in a way, and you know that easy, just gonna pass it in. This is probably where the biggest part of practice comes into play because it goes strictly off reaction time, and it's you reacting to his body cues. So to be able to do this with a goalkeeper is probably the most important part of this specific technique, but you also need to have the right technique, obviously, when striking the ball. Alright, so this was my final penalty of the season, and this was by far the most difficult. This was the first time that the goalkeeper didn't actually move. So I did my run up as usual, I put my head up, and the goalkeeper was just in the middle, equal weight on both legs, and I was like, oh, this is the first time this has happened. I only had half a second to react, and then that's why it's pretty crucial that you have a default penalty way. Like, my default way is pretty much to the right, because I find that doing this run up, my body opens up really easily, and I can just kind of put it in to the right. I guess the rest is history, because it was a pretty good penalty, but that was the most difficult one, if that makes sense. I can't suggest this technique high enough. It is, I think, game changing, and I feel like it's a very good way of scoring. So that's all I can pretty much say. Make sure that you make it habitual and that it's just something you can easily do, easily get in the rhythm and just be composed on the day when it finally comes. And then make sure you practice that reaction time, because that's the second most important thing, just judging the goalkeeper's body position and his movement on the line. But that's pretty much it. That's my results of doing it. Scored all 3 of my penalties last season, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I can't ask for anything more than that. So I'm happy. I hope you guys go and do something similar. Go try it out. Try find your own technique, and I will catch you guys in the next video.